What's up, y'all? LakerFan here. As you can about title today's video, finishing has changed forever in NBA 2K26, and I'm not even gassing that with like a clickbait title or anything like that. This is for real, like so much information and so much change from 2K25 to 26, let alone anything we've ever even had before as far as finishing goes in 2K. So let's start with the biggest piece of information, which in my opinion is going to be the custom layups, or aka a layup creator. So I've been asking for this for a long time, and ironically, if you go back to the last video I posted, I was talking about wanting this as well, but I thought it was too much of a mythical made-up thing for us to believe 2K would ever bring to the table. I thought maybe it would lead to slashing being a little overpowered, because let's be real, if you could get the best hop animation, the best floater, the best Euro spin, all that into whatever package you want to, accumulate for yourself, I thought it would be maybe a little too overpowered. But here we are. We have the ability to get a whole package of all the custom styles that you want. So this is from the gameplay directly. You can see they have a normal layup, reverse layup, floater, quick scoop, stuff like that, so on and so forth, all the way down to Euro, hop, and spin. So as I've said in the last video we just did, I think this can be really overpowered in the right hands, and let me tell y'all, the right hands are right here. I'm here to tell you right now, I will be labbing this and absolutely bringing you guys information as far as what I think is the best for each package, the synergy they all have, and truly, I must say, there's so much serious customization that will come with all this stuff. Like, in my opinion, what I, off the top of my head, am thinking is, obviously, you want to do a lot of things like Euros, hops, and spins toward your offhand. It's typically the way to kind of go from a ball, like a defender guarding your ball hand, aka if you're driving to your left, he cuts off your left. You want to use these gathers typically to move toward your offhand. Now, off the top of my head too, the Euros are probably for more of a slowdown thing, and we'll talk about that later in the video as well. They actually are going to allow you to do that on purpose, but on top of that, the Euro animations are already a lot slower than the hops, for instance. So things like the hop dunk are a lot for just getting to that quickly, and then in my opinion the Euro would be more for getting it to it in a more slow fashion that's intentional as well. Spins we'll talk about a little bit as well, but this is more just, it depends on the gather distance that they give you on it, whether it's good or not. And a lot of times there will be a layup package that maybe has a good spin in it for the gathers, but it has really bad hop, Euro, and floater and stuff like that, so it's not even worth using, because it's just, who even would think of a spin lay as their prioritization, if you will. But anyway, I was so excited to hear about this. This is going to be so fun to play around with, and I cannot wait. I absolutely cannot wait. But anyway, let's get into more of the information, because there's a lot more stuff than this. It's just I had to go to the courtside report to gather this information right here. While I transition from the courtside report to my bookmarks and stuff like that, I figured I might as well just also take some of these tidbits of information that I actually pulled right here. So this is going to be also stuff from the courtside report, but I just put it into my own little image, essentially. But anyway, this is the thing I was talking about, the slow motion Euro steps. You can hold your LT or, just L2, whatever that is on PlayStation. You know what the button is. Anyway, point is, you can hold that while you're initiating the Euro step, and you're going to be able to deliberately decelerate mid-move to throw defenders off and create space with a slow motion drag step finish. I mean, that sounds so fire, bro. There's so much customization. I don't want to overhype things, because I know we do it every single year, right? But this is absolutely different. It's never been done before. We never had that alone. If this was the only thing we even heard, I wouldn't be gassing it. I'd be saying this is cool, and I look forward to using it. But like, this is just an add-on, a hammer-on, if you will. Like, this is so cool that we have the custom layup creator. Now, as far as a nerf to slashers, inherently that is what this is technically. Now, I think it'll be more fun, and if you master the craft, you'll stand out a whole lot more than the others, and this is just an inherent harder thing to do nowadays. So for alley-oops, it's no longer going to be you just tapping X or square on PlayStation, or like holding for some people that were doing that instead of tapping it. That's a long explanation of where you're going wrong with that, in my opinion. But anyway, let's just talk about what this is going to be now. So catching an alley-oop now requires more skill. Once the pass has been thrown, the finish button for the receiver will be randomized on higher difficulties, aka even rec, park, stuff like that, but obviously pro-am, things like that. This is just meaning, I guess it's not going to do it on like, low difficulty My League and stuff like that. But anyway, to one of the 4 face buttons on your controller instead of always being square or X. So for my Xbox people, it could be A, B, Y, or X, any of the 4. And I'm guessing having a high lob finishing badge, whatever they decide to call that this year, you know, obviously. I think that's going to be probably important, not to mention your dunk rating, because the window never really used to matter a whole lot because it's just so easy to make. But now when you have a little bit more timing window, if you will, I think slasher builds will stand out a whole lot more. So we're going to do a lot of this kind of breakdown in today's video of giving my like in-depth analysis. Essentially, me taking a lot of these things and telling you guys what it really means to me in terms of how it affects the gameplay or your build or your playstyle for the year you're coming into. And I know a lot of people are going to make jokes about how the YouTubers always stretch the videos super long, but y'all know that's already what I like to do in the first place, is kind of give more thorough kind of takes on things that I'm more passionate about, and that's what this is right here. The finishing is absolutely in my bag, and I look forward to enhancing the bag, and it sounds like they're going to allow you a lot of enhancement. So let's just get into the bookmarks. I have about, let's see, like I would rough estimate like 12 of these, maybe 10, something like that. So some of them are just tweets, some of them are talking about just the dunk meters and stuff like that, but I do want to talk to you guys about why I think some things like these are going to lead to important things to note for the game coming into next year. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you do, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on noties, all good stuff, and like always, try this one to 1,000 likes, something like that. But anyway, right here he was explaining to just someone replying to a tweet that pretty much all meters will show the green window except for the ones that were from 2K25, so dial, arrow, and ring, and I hated all of them. I'm glad that they're bringing back the old ones. He mentioned in this right here that all the shot meters from 2K24 and 25 are available to choose from, so that's something I'm definitely going to just revert back to the 24 ones. I don't know, I'm just not a fan of a lot of the other ones that we had right here. I can't wait to put comment back on, bro. Y'all know me. I loved that thing from 24. Anyway, the dunk meter green window will adjust dynamically like layups. So this is something for the dunk meter people out there, obviously me included, that this is going to be a big deal for, and let's just talk about this. So obviously you can see in the tweet that the guy was asking Mike about, will the green window on dunk meters move dynamically based on the contest system the way layups do, or will it be the same as 2K24 where it like snapped right into the size of your meter as soon as you initiated the dunk? He's saying that it's going to be dynamic like layups, and that your meter size will change based on the amount of contest at every given moment all the way until you finish the dunk. Now, to go thorough into this, and I'm sure at least a couple of y'all have thought about this already, but I want to like put people on to the fact that this is going to have to be a thing going into next year. The speed on your dunk animations is going to be very important if this is true. Like when we talk things that like in 2K24, you getting into a dunk meter and the fact that as soon as you snap into it, it just locks in your, meter size. I used to talk about takeoff distance being the importance when that was the case, because the further you take off from, the less defense is going to be impacting the rim at the moment of you locking in that dunk meter size. Now, the quickness of you getting to the hoop and actually putting it in the basket is what's really going to matter, because at the end of the day, all that BS that you're looking at when you're gathering for the dunk rather than actually finishing it, the gather means nothing. It's just gonna dynamically adjust all the way up until the point that you finish it. So the quickness of your dunk animations are gonna be really important. I know some of y'all who are watching this video aren't subscribed to me, or maybe aren't gonna watch my vids on release or anything like that. So I just want to let you guys know who are those people. Absolutely keep that in the back of your mind for when you're making your dunks and stuff like that in 2K26. You really want to have the faster ones that are going to get you to the hoop faster, so that you can lock in that finish of the dunk itself and not allow a 7-footer off the corner dropping from like the big that's in your corner, and allow him to get to the hoop and actually impact your finish. And you having a faster dunk is going to allow that to happen. And also, I wanted to talk about a couple things that you can see on the bottom here. So my boy Vert, I follow him on Twitter as well. He's just someone that ended up, being a long-term supporter of me. So I saw him reply to this and ask if there was a way to do directional dunks. And that's in response to this tweet right here. So I just wanted to kind of add this right here and then explain this to you guys as well. He did a little Q&A. I'm guessing he's like asking his own questions and then answering them so we can get the best context to everything right here. So question, are there changes to dunking? And then he says yes. Holding turbo and the pro stick down is how you meter dunk in 2K26. Blah, blah, blah. This will encourage more flashy dunks, but you can also get flashy dunks off on the shot button if you're wide open with no trailing threats. Anyway, that's not what I'm concerned about. What I wanted to really talk about is the fact that it's going to be holding down on the right stick. Now, a lot of you guys who are watching this are probably thinking there's no way to break this down any further, right? We're just talking about holding down on your right stick for the dunk meter. But I want to talk about how I think this is going to influence the ability to preload your meter dunk. AKA, I mean, in 24, a lot of y'all who are like deep in with like following me, and maybe there are some other creators that have put people onto the whole preloading meter dunk. Maybe you inherently found that yourself or anything like that, but I just wanted to explain it to people who don't understand what I'm talking about with a preloaded meter dunk. Essentially, in 24, I would do the input while my point guard is passing me the ball, right? Of flicking up and holding down on the right stick to initiate the meter dunk. And you could do that while the ball is mid-air, and it would essentially, as soon as you possibly could, initiate your meter dunk. And obviously, like I told y'all, with the like takeoff distance and stuff like that in 24, it was very important to be able to do that, because with people rotating off the corner on a pick and roll or something like that, that was a big deal. And it was really nice to get you into a meter dunk that was makeable, and it's a big deal. So why I think that's going to be a lot easier in this game, even if the mechanics don't initially like want it to happen, right? Like if you can't necessarily preload it, it doesn't matter though anymore, because the fact that we don't have to do the up down mechanic anymore, and the fact that you can just constantly hold down on your right stick the whole time your point guard's throwing you the ball, it's still going to get into that animation, right? It'll still take that input specifically of you just holding down the right stick. So I wanted to pretty much use this as telling y'all, I think that does mean, yes, preloading meter dunk is back. The only way it wouldn't be the case is if while you're holding down on the right stick, they don't take the input because you didn't start holding down on it until when you had the ball or something like that. I highly doubt that's the case though. If you are holding down on your right stick the whole time, I'm sure they take that input as you starting your dunk meter. So as your point guard's passing you the ball, you should be all good to do that. Now, what I also am curious of too, right? Because again, this is very deep dive stuff. If y'all aren't here for the yap, it's okay, but I promise it's informative stuff when I am doing this yapping. So in 24, the problem would be sometimes, because I fell in love with that preloading meter dunk stuff, right? Me flicking the stick took as a lob finish input, if you will. Essentially what that actually ended up being is you could flick the stick to actually, like, you know, press X figuratively for your alley-oop finish. So problem was the game took that input sometimes, and if I had a miscommunication with my point guard of thinking that they were going to throw me a regular pass versus an alley-oop, I would sometimes accidentally screw up the alley-oop timing because I was trying to preload the meter dunk. If they're only taking the face buttons as the finishes, and I hope that's what it's going to do, I hope they don't take the right stick as anything like that. It actually would be cheese if you could just bypass it. So I hope that's not the case. And I hope they're only taking the face buttons. And then it would eliminate the you know, possibility of screwing up the alley-oop by you just holding down on your right stick trying to preload it. So anyway, I know a bit of a tangent talking about preloading meter dunks just for me to talk about how you can now just hold down on the right stick to get the meter dunk. But yeah, we're done with the Mortal Kombat stuff of up, down, left, right, you know, not really figuratively, it's just a reference, but you get what I'm saying. Up, down, up, which one do you flick, which one do you hold, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, it's kind of inverted itself over the years and stuff like that from 23 to 24. So anyway, I don't know. It's a simplicity thing. I'm sure they like got tired of people asking and stuff like that. Now noobs like my friends and stuff like that, when we play local, will understand that it's literally just hold down on the stick, and that's way easier for someone to even get the entry to. You know what I mean? Like, that's already a barrier that's hard to pass for a lot of people. The fact that it's these Mortal Kombat up down combos, which one do you flick, which one do you hold, stuff like that. It's hard for people to remember, especially as a beginner. Anyway, moving along, I just wanted to talk about how the builder is gonna somewhat influence this stuff too. So there are gonna be height restrictions for certain layup packages. That's obviously gonna mean that there are height restrictions for everything, whether that's, you know, layups, jump shots, dribble animations, stuff like that, like there has been for quite some time now. But anyway, height and rating restrictions are similar to 2K25, the new custom layup packages. So if you qualified for a specific player's layup package in 2K25, you'd qualify for all of that player's individual normal, reverse, quick scoop, floater, euro, hop step, and spin packages. So there won't be anything kind of separated, if you will. Like if you get Bankero's hop dunks, you also get his spins, floats, euros, and stuff like that as well. So should be the case, at least that's what I'm interpreting off of this. So if you're looking for the rating caps and stuff like that you need to achieve for your layup ratings, or maybe they even put dunk ratings, I highly doubt it. It's probably just layup rating. But yeah, there are height restricted ones as well. So we'll have to really get in the lab, figure out if like the undersized big or the 6'10" is like the move for the slasher per se. I'll always have a big man for Pro-Am per se, like whether that ends up being an undersized or a big man or not. Still, point being, I probably won't be on like gathers quite as much, or like, you know, fancy finishes on a build like that in Pro-Am. But for park and stuff like that, or something that's more fun of a slasher identity that I'd more talk about, that is for sure something I'll be labbing, whether it's better to just be 6'10", 6'9", 6'8", stuff like that. So I'm for sure going to be looking into that. This is a question I also had on my last video, which was, are we going to, since the layup timing is going to be forced, right? That's what we talked about in the last one. So that's not new information, but if you needed to hear that again, just so you know, layup timing is forced to be on no matter what. Now, I was going to question, does that mean that low risk, normal risk, or high risk would still be back? Turns out, no. Everybody's going to be on the same playing field for 2K26, as Mike says right here. So that's good to know, I would like to say. I just think when people go to different settings, they kind of judge against the other people. Like when someone's running no timing, right? They will joke about that guy, or even like, you know, hate on them for having that. But it's just a lot of inherent things are because of the game, if I had to say so. Like, I don't know, some people their play style isn't really based on anything to do with like advanced finishing, so they just don't want to accidentally screw it up. But now you have to risk screwing it up. So layups will be a skill gap, and then even further, the fact that you can get so advanced with them, and like also a knowledge gap between the animations themselves is huge. So all that stuff, really big to know, and I think this is all huge information. Also, sorry, I'm at the end of the video right now. I know it doesn't make sense wherever I'm slotting this in at, but I wanted to go back and talk about this because I think this is partially something to talk about finishing. It's more bigs, right? But like for those who play like me, where it's like a slasher and a big man at the same time, where it's like a screen setter inside big, this is something that I think is actually going to be a huge game changer and will take a bit of labbing when it comes to the bigs as well. It's not going to be easy to just hop on big and be a dominant screener because of this, if you ask me. Now, in the past, something like 2K20 really comes to mind when I used to play at the 2 sometimes on 3s, where like my boys would be on like a small forward build and so would I, but then their, you know, I don't know, their ball handling or pass ac or something like that was higher or lower, so it'd put them at the 3, it'd put me at the 2, even though I'm taller than them, something like that. And it was stupid. It would make it so locks, who were supposed to be guarding my point guard, were technically guarding me, so I couldn't set screens on them because they were my matchup. Long story short, screw all that. You can just face which way you want to now as a screener instead of the way the game tells you to. So you can make 45-degree angle turns. You can make a 180 and flip from screening someone left to screening someone right. I think this is going to be huge for off-ball screening as well. And I think it's going to bring a different playstyle that I was already planning on doing, by the way, for Pro-Am to the playing field for sure, with the off-ball screening and stuff like that you can do. So I'm excited to get some of these plays in that I was thinking about already for a month or so now, and I've been sending to my team and stuff. But anyway, let's cut back to where we were at in the video. I just wanted to insert this real quick because I forgot to. So between the meters, the dynamic change of the size of the meters, the custom layups, the forced layup timing, the fact that you can put, you know, like we said, all the custom different animations on, stuff like that. Alley-oop timing as well, with that being different like button inputs and stuff. And then, as you can see, once again, just wanted to reiterate the fact that you can force your Euro step layups to be even slower. Like, put an absolute just break on people. Now, I don't know if that means I want to run like a faster Euro animation, and that if you do the slowdown, it slows all the way down, because you could really throw people off with that. What I'd like to say, too, is that when you're driving at a really high speed sometimes, putting the brakes on it and like actually just waiting it out a little bit can really get people to jump when they think you're going to meter dunk them. So to go from like full speed into anticipation of a meter dunk and them just jumping to try and rip you out of it or get the best contest on it, to put the brakes on people and just like be able to slow it down all the way, wait for them to get through their jump and then be able to dunk on them, probably really good. We'll have to once again test all that stuff out, figure out what animation is best. I'll be labbing, man. I will absolutely be labbing this stuff. So anyway, I'm excited. I once again do not want to gas this like so hard if it didn't deserve it, but I think they do deserve it in this regard. I love everything we're hearing about the slashers in this game. I don't know if people are going to be so satisfied with the shooting stuff. The shooters are right now. We'll talk about that in a different video. Essentially, it's going to be pure green, like, you know, windows and stuff like that now, where there's no RNG of like you hitting the full timing on your shot, whether you make it or not. Again, that depends on how you like it or not. I guess, to be fair, some people might react to the slasher information in a negative way because it does give a lot of customization. It allows the best of the best to be the best, if you ask me. And some people might not like that because obviously they want people to just be kind of stuck to the basic playstyle of like, you know, as advanced as they're willing to get, you know, and the fact that you're going to be allowed to get even more advanced maybe is something they don't like to hear. I don't know. Everybody has their own biases when it comes to these playstyle talks and stuff like that. But just know, for those of you who like to play the game like me, I think we're eating off this information right here. Obviously, the gameplay is going to be very important to actually, like, you know, get our hands on and see if slashers are good. But the information that we're getting right here of the full customization is more than anything we've ever had. So I have to assume those who are willing to put in the time are going to be much further ahead than those who aren't willing to put in the time. Anyway, that's all for video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, 7 new, turn on noties, all good stuff. Like always, try this 1 to 1,000 likes. And if you made it to the end of the video, put slash in the comments, search parts of through, or put finish if you'd like instead. So again, I'm excited. I can't say that enough, but we'll get to different topics with different videos very shortly here. We're about to get into grind mode pretty soon. So I'll probably have a different video talking about the rebounding stuff that is changing and how that might impact things. It might be a shorter video for that one. But then defense as well. I'll be talking about defense. We'll see if I make separate videos on the playmaking and the shooting stuff. But I just wanted to kind of separate these videos into different categories for you guys so it'd be easier to digest one topic at a time. And as opposed to like those who were just kind of skimming through everything all at once. This is going to be a lot more deep dive stuff talking about them in specific. And in this case, it was finishing. So I hope y'all enjoy. And other than that, take it easy, man. Peace.